Plans for the future of the Bird's Eye Library are taking shape. More on that. Plus, Santa's in need of more elves this year. My conversation with the Santa Claus Christmas store about what you can do. And Purdue Extension educator Jan Dugan discusses beans tonight on Inform. All of that and much more is up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Hello, I'm Bradford Raths. We begin this evening with a Jasper man being arrested after police were told a woman was being held hostage in a hotel room. Just after 8:35 yesterday morning, Jasper police were called to Econo Lodge Jasper on that report. When they arrived, officers found 19-year-old Brent Dyke walking away from the hotel. After speaking with him, police learned that Dyke and a teenage girl had been involved in a domestic violence altercation. The girl told police that Dyke battered, strangled, and threatened to kill her during that fight. The girl also told police Dyke would not let her leave the hotel room. Dyke was arrested and lodged in the Du Bois County Security Center. He is facing charges for criminal confinement, strangulation, intimidation, and domestic battery. Meanwhile, the girl complained of pain but refused medical treatment. The future of the library in Bird's Eye is now a bit more clear. Last night, the Bird's Eye Town Council held a public hearing on plans for the future of the library. Many folks turned up to hear about these plans, according to library officials. The plans call for expansion of the current building located along State Road 145 and West 1st Street in Bird's Eye. The expansion would take the building from its current size of just over 1,100 square feet up to nearly 3,800 square feet, more than tripling the size. The expansion would include additional computer stations, a large meeting room, and expanding the volume of the library's collection. Contractual Library Board President Kathy Treader says many people were impressed with the plans that Universal Design laid out. She says in the end, expanding the current library works out better financially.
To add on and to improve the existing library is $564,000 estimated. So you can see there's a huge difference, fundraising potential and everything. It just makes more sense to add on to the existing.
Price tag for building on a new site would have been more than $1.4 million, according to Treader. Now, there were 3 other options in consideration as part of the feasibility study. Treader says the study looked into the former Bird's Eye school site, a site near the Bird's Eye Park, and a building that once housed Crickett's General Store just across the street from the current library. Treader says the Bird's Eye Library has done well in its short existence, something that should continue in the future with the expansion.
It's serving us well, but people are definitely using it, and they would use it more. The other thing is having more hours. We do a lot of business in the short hours that we are open, but I think it can only grow.
Now, the council ultimately approved the plans as presented. Treader says work on the project would likely not start until 2018. She says Bird's Eye is continuing to work on its water and sewer feasibility study. The delay is due to the library not being able to apply for grants under state law. The town of Bird's Eye has to apply for the grants on behalf of the library and cannot have more than one grant open at a time. Treader says in the meantime, the library will have to do some fundraising for the expansion. She says part of the work will include starting an endowment with the Du Bois County Community Foundation. Jasper-based Kimball International is continuing to see financial growth. Company officials have announced net sales of $348.2 million from the first quarter of fiscal year 2015. That's up 10% from the $317.4 million in net sales from the first quarter of last fiscal year. Kimball's net income came in at $9.5 million, or 25 cents per share, an increase of 49%. The figure originally was $8 million and 21 cents per Class B diluted share, but incremental after-tax costs related to the spinoff of Kimball Electronics amounted to $1.5 million, thus the adjustment in net income. The company also says its operating income is up 17% to $13.6 million. It had been at $11.7 million at last year's first quarter. In the furniture division, net sales went up 2%, while operating income went up 33%. In the electronic manufacturing services segment prior to the spinoff, net sales saw an even larger increase of 16%. The adjusted net income was up 32%. Finally, Kimball's effective tax rate rose to 37.9%. That's an increase of nearly 10% over the first quarter of last fiscal year. Finally this evening, there will be a Du Bois County flavor to this year's recreation of a World War II-era Christmas party in Luxembourg. The original American St. Nicholas party was held in Wiltz, Luxembourg on December 5th of 1944 in the midst of World War II. It was put on by Corporals Harry Stutz and Richard Brookins, who at the time were serving with the 112th Regiment of the 28th Infantry Division through the Pennsylvania National Guard. Stutz and Brookins decided to throw the original party after seeing the suffering of folks in Wiltz stemming from the wartime occupation of Luxembourg by Germany. Brookins played the role of St. Nicholas, dressing up and parading through the streets of Wiltz to pass out candy to all of the kids. Now, the recreation effort is being led by Mark Altmeyer. Altmeyer, who is a 1984 graduate of Southridge High School, is currently working as the chief curator and the appointed American coordinator for the American St. Nick Museum in Wiltz. Altmeyer says the original party's success led to this recreation idea.
It changed from just being a St. Nick party to an American St. Nick party because the kindness and graciousness of the Americans back then left a very, very big impression on the people of Wiltz, and they never forgot it.
Altmeyer says the first party after the war was held in 1949. Now, this year marks the 70th anniversary of the original 1944 party. Brookins, who is now 93 years old, will be attending this year's party as a special guest. As part of the recreation effort, Altmeyer is asking folks in Du Bois County to donate American candy for the children of Wiltz. Altmeyer says getting Du Bois County's help will go a long way.
Just asking an open question to the people of Du Bois County to show what Americans are still up to. Hershey's, Tootsie Rolls, bubble gum, and the typical American World War II style candy that the Americans received from their rations back then, and also from packages from the States to show the people of Wiltz that the Americans haven't forgot them either.
Monetary donations are also being accepted. The money will go towards buying more candy or presents for the children. Now, the party will be accompanied by a reenactment of various stages of the infamous Battle of the Bulge. Altmeyer says the reenactment serves as an important reminder.
It's just a constant reminder to the people also of these days that war is not an option. And with the reenactors running around giving candy out to the children on the different battle sites and stuff, because a lot of them there are like as tourists and spectators. It gives a very positive input to the people as to the importance of recreating the battles so that the history is never forgotten.
Donations can be mailed to USO Kaiserslautern, attention Colleen Lynch, at Area Operations Rhine Ordnance Barracks. You can also call Kelly Johnson at 309-2908 in order to donate. The deadline for all donations is coming up next week on November 13th. All right, coming up after the break, Santa's in need of elves, more on what you can do, plus your local forecast, sports with Kurt Gooksell, and Inform with Jan Dugan. That's all up next here on the 18 WJTS News. Local people watching local people.